about what a cetacean is. No one modeled a cetacean, but you know what a cetacean is, right? And I just told Helen that they are aquatic mammals. Sapiens can handle syntax like that. By the way, that word are or is, again, is one of those words that do not mean the same thing. They mean vastly different. It means vastly different things, depending on the context. In this case, it is signifying that a cetacean is an aquatic mammal. It may or may not know what aquatic means. If it doesn't, it'll bookkeep that concept as a potential property that mammals have and that cetaceans have, that some mammals have and that all cetaceans have. So now it knows that a porpoise is a small cetacean, but it's differentiated from other cetaceans by the fact that it had that adjective on it. So we could do the obvious thing that you might do with a first grader and come back and say, okay, what is a porpoise or what is a cetacean? But it'd be more interesting to see if it did integrate it into its existing world model. So if a porpoise is a cetacean and a cetacean is a mammal, it must be warm-blooded. So that is an example of Bloom's taxonomy 1 for the first time ever in a machine. Well, 2, comprehension. In this case, and you note here, we were kind of for the first time giving some kind of precision to the notion, these steps. They fit very nicely into the identifying words or concepts that are in the Bloom's taxonomy. But in this case, we're actually being able to provide some more precision to what that really means. With precision in the steps of what are the steps of comprehension that map into these features of Bloom's taxonomy, or what are the steps of what level of comprehension. And human educators don't do this because they don't have no idea. They don't have no ideas about what those steps might be. And you never would unless you try to build one. They just build something that can comprehend. So I'm going to ask it. I know it doesn't know what a report is, but I'm just going to check. Now, we recently had one of our marketing consultants make the mistake of calling our Sapiens chatbots. It's not a chatbot. Chatbots do not process language this way. Chatbots process language either by having pre-canned responses to expected inputs, or they do things stochastically or statistically like the language models. And you'll note that typically with a chatbot, they will always say something back. They will always come back at you and try to do something with what you said. A lot of times trying to force you down a line of interchanges that they are prepared to handle. When a Sapien says, I don't know, it actually means something. It means that when in, I processed the question and I went into my model and I didn't find an answer to it. So I'm going to use report in a sentence. So it's process that sentence. So language recording. Well, that's right. A report is language and it's recorded language. It's a little awkward. We'll be getting more sophisticated into getting Sapiens to articulate things more like people do, but it may not be slick and smooth like ChatGPT, but it's accurate and it actually knows what it means. It has a reference and a model for language which has been in a recorded or recordable state. Again, we took a lot of information out of that language and we created a structure, created a new instance of porpoise, gave it a name Susie, established and connected that to the porpoise named Charlie through a relationship tag. A lot of stuff went on, and it wasn't in the language. The language didn't have all that. The language could have just easily be a bird that, walk up to somebody, my sister, and grab her and say, hi to sister. The language could have been, but that's not the way typically in the everyday context we're meant to put these ideas together. So the way it put it together was controlled by the reality as modeled in the model. So we've left the language behind. One of our board members made the comment, in order to comprehend language, you have to leave language behind. And that's so fundamentally different than what anybody else has ever tried to do with machines and language before. So I have another little question for, what is Charlie? It is a porpoise. You think Charlie is smart. That's certainly a Bloom's level 3 type remark to make. What happened? Every concept that we have in our model, those 3,000 concepts, They're classified according to multiple, what we call epistemological dimensions. One of them, of course, is what kind of thing it is. Is it a quality or quantity or thing that has properties or an action or result? That's one dimensionality. But another dimensionality, what view of reality does this concept belong in, or what layer as we think of it? And what I'm talking about are things, the difference between, say, the things we perceive, the perceptions themselves, our feelings about those perceptions, or our intellectual knowledge or assessments of those things. The word smart, its model reference, is classified as an intellectual assessment. And assessments are things which vary from human to human, from intellect to intellect. So because of that, when we connected the dots about Charlie being smart, we didn't connect it in the same way that we connected the notion that porpoises are small cetaceans. If I said Charlie was cute, again, it would come back and say, it's a porpoise, you think it's cute. Because again, that's subjective. So those kinds of things are wired right into our model from the ground up, even at the very simplest notion. And that makes a huge difference on the kinds of insights. And also, if you might realize, if you can grasp on the implications of that, it makes Sapiens fundamentally resistant to picking up human bias. You can say every ugly thing you want, about another human being or about ChatGPT or anything you want to insult, and it will just, well, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. You think that, you feel that.